Now, there's another way of tolerancing on a print besides limit dimensioning, and we call that the plus and minus tolerancing method. And you've probably seen this as well. So look at the 2-inch height dimension here. We can express a tolerance on this dimension like this. This is still telling us a tolerance just like this is. The difference is that this is the limits of size tolerance, and this is plus minus tolerancing. And with this type of tolerancing, we literally put a plus, backslash, minus, and then whatever the tolerance is. So this tells me that I can make this part 2 inches tall, plus 0.005 or minus 0.005. So if I said to you, what is the tolerance on this 2-inch dimension, remember that tolerance is the total permissible variation. So if it can be plus 5 thou or minus 5 thou, then we have a tolerance of 10 thousandths of an inch, right? Because it's the plus and the minus added together. Just like here, you're being shown the upper limit and the lower limit. Well, if you subtracted the lower limit from the upper limit, you're going to get the tolerance, right? 0.1. 100 thou. Here, if the upper limit is 2.005, because that's what it would be, right? If I added 0.005 to this, it would be 2.005. If I subtracted 0.005 from this, it would be 1.995, right? So if I subtracted if I subtracted 1.995 away from 2.005, I'm going to get 0.01. 10 thou. So again, I know I've mentioned it several times, but it is really important to understand that tolerance is the total amount of deviation, okay? So in this particular method of dimensioning that you see here, you notice that the 2-inch dimension, the basic size, right? It's written first. Okay, it's given first, and then the plus minus tolerance is written right beside it. And this would be the way you would want to write this if the plus and minus was the same. Okay, so this particular plus minus tolerance right here, we call this a bilateral plus minus tolerance. And it's bilateral because notice the 0.005, it's plus or it's minus, right? But the key to it is that it's plus or minus the same amount. It can be up to plus 5 thou or minus 5 thou. So this is an example of a bilateral plus minus tolerance, okay? Let's look at the 0.75 diameter hole. So we can use a plus minus tolerancing here as well. Now in this example, we're using what's called an unequal bilateral tolerance. So in the last example right here, remember that this tolerance on the 2-inch dimension is a bilateral plus minus tolerance, right? But here, this is an unequal bilateral tolerance. So it's bilateral in the sense that it has a plus tolerance and it has a minus tolerance, but it's unequal because they're not the same. Okay, so again, it's important to understand this style of tolerancing, right? +2 - 1, this is an unequal bilateral tolerance.